Welcome back to Buy or Sell, the series where you pitch me your predictions for the theme park world, and I either buy or sell them and explain why. If you want your idea considered for the next video, leave a comment below starting with buy or sell. In this episode, we're doing something different. I'm making this video strictly about the biggest theme park story to break in my lifetime, if not all time, the Cedar Fair Six Flags merger. Let's dive in your predictions for what's to come in this blockbuster deal. This is Buy or Sell, episode 25. Before we get started, if you can drop this video a like, I'd appreciate it. It helps me with the YouTube algorithm. And if you're new here and love coasters, please give me a sub. Also, if you make your own videos and want access to copyright-free off-ride footage, check out my second channel, Airtime Thrills Raw Footage, and avoid those copyright strikes. And if you love coasters and baseball, check out my baseball channel, Home Run Productions. Let's get this started with Froggy Mapping. Following the merger, both Magic Mountain and Great Adventure will get gigas in the coming years. When you look at the winners and the losers from the deal, there are pretty defined groups. I don't think there's any greater winner than the major Six Flags parks. These are the parks in the big markets: Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, and in the past, they got the best additions from Six Flags. After bankruptcy, so many options were taken off the table. Sure, they got a lot of stuff, but they weren't getting the same things that major Cedar Fair parks got. There was a ceiling on investment, and Six Flags couldn't justify spending that much on one attraction. A giga would be a perfect fit for all these parks, and with this merger, I think all their ceilings just rose. I'm buying this. I didn't think there was any way these Six Flags parks would ever get a giga, unless they got a crazy new CEO that had a totally different game plan. And with this merger, that kind of happened. Richard Zimmerman from Cedar Fair is the new CEO, and they haven't been shy buying gigas for their most profitable parks. The unknown 0887, SeaWorld and Herschend will merge to compete with Cedar Fair and Six Flags. SeaWorld has the 2 Sesame Place parks on each coast, the 2 Busch Gardens parks on the East Coast, and 3 SeaWorld parks in California, Texas, and Florida. Herschend has Dollywood, Silver Dollar City, Wild Adventures, and Kentucky Kingdom. It seems like these chains are doing perfectly fine on their own, operating a smaller set of parks, but they have their own segment of the market carved out, and they're able to make major investments as is. I don't think they need to combine forces to compete, so I'm selling this. SeaWorld is pouring new rides into all their parks, and as of right now, that doesn't seem like a house of cards. We may find out more later about how sustainable this was, but they seem to be doing fine. Herschend hasn't done much with Wild Adventures, and they got Kentucky Kingdom not that long ago, but they got 2 massively popular parks in high tourist areas, Pigeon Forge and Branson, and you're seeing $20 to $30 million expansions on the regular. Konpaku 91 and Jawman. With the merger, this chain will work with RMC, Gerstlauer, and Intamin. This is one of the more fun aspects of the merger, seeing if these manufacturers are let back into the gauntlet. Cedar Fair has a problem with Intamin. They've been burned by them time and time again, and when they had a chance to turn Top Thrill Dragster into a multi-pass launch coaster with a switch track. The same thing Intamin has done a bunch of times, including with Pantheon. Cedar Fair chose Zamperla instead. Maybe this was cost related, but it seems to me that was Cedar Fair giving Intamin the cold shoulder. Cedar Fair also doesn't get along with RMC. They ordered 3 in 2018. Railblazer, Twisted Timbers, and Steel Vengeance, and I've heard they weren't all that happy with how everything went down. It's weird to have 3 projects at once and none since, unless there was a problem there. Six Flags normally can't afford Intamins, but they're getting their first new Intamin coaster in 13 years, the Ultra Surf at Six Flags Over Georgia. They also love RMC. They haven't gotten a new hybrid since 2018, but they've been in the market for the single rail coaster. With Six Flags members on the board, maybe they vouch for RMC and convince Zimmerman to let them take on new projects, like Hurler at Carowinds or Timberwolf at Worlds of Fun. As for Intamin, Six Flags doesn't have much say there, but they've been doing so much good work in the US and around the world. Maybe that relationship gets repaired naturally. As for Gerstlauer, Cedar Fair worked with them as recently as 2018, opening Hang Time at Knott's, but Six Flags stopped working with them 10 years ago, ever since the death on New Texas Giant, that RMC using Gerstlauer trains. Because of the legal aspect of this dispute, it may be harder to repair compared to the shunning from Cedar Fair towards RMC and Intamin. Still, I don't think it's irreparable. RMC and Gerstlauer offer some of the cheapest thrill rides on the market, and Intamin brings innovation and quality that could be very attractive. You know, as long as it works right. I'm buying this. I think this merger reopens the door for all the manufacturers, or at the very least, it makes it a possibility for the first time in a long time. Madison Rustnock 2680. RMC makes a comeback in Cedar Fair, and Michigan's Adventure's newest coaster is an RMC Wolverine Wildcat. I mentioned the cost of new RMCs, and that alone should be attractive to the new chain and all the debt they currently have. Those bright orange rails on a wood structure, smoothly twisting around, offering world-class forces, and doing all this on existing wood, existing footers, existing station, replacing an old wooden coaster nobody liked anyway that was a pain to maintain. There's no wonder Six Flags loves them, and they must have really cheesed off Cedar Fair for them to run away. If Michigan's Adventure was ever going to get something new, giving Wolverine Wildcat the RMC treatment is a good option. But that just got Titan Track. They're trying to fix the coaster as it is. Had that not happened, I would like this idea, but I have to sell it. Maybe they do it down the line, but if they add any more Titan Track from this point on, I'd forget about it. Hollywood Studios. Great Adventure is built up as a multi-day destination in the style of Cedar Point and Knott's. This type of thing has been discussed in the past with Magic Mountain, but it's never come to be. They were talking about building a whole city walk in the area, a hotel on site, but nothing. Great Adventure has a lot of appeal. It's in a great area, not far from New York City. They have tons of land, plus their safari, so I could see them using that and trying to make this a destination resort, but that's a pretty big step. I'm gonna sell this, at least for now. Maybe they invest in this down the line if they can pay off some of their debt. Craze Coaster. Because the new chain will have two parks in the same metro area, California's Great America will end up closing sooner. I admit, I'm not sure what the deal is with this sale. Cedar Fair sold the land to Prologis, and they said they'd scale down the park over the next 11 years. Why 11 years? It seems like Cedar Fair has a lease for 6 more years, and they can extend that lease for 5 years after that. Prologis can terminate the lease beforehand, but they have to give 2 years notice. There's a lot of moving parts here, not to mention the city of Santa Clara may be blocking the whole deal, but I'm selling this. I don't think the merger changes the deal between Cedar Fair and Prologis, nor does the fact they now own 2 Northern California parks. Dean Finder 5195. A Cedar Fair park gains the Six Flags title to help with marketing. They said there would be no rebranding, but that doesn't mean they won't change their minds later. The only parks I can see this happening for are Michigan's Adventure and Dorney Park. Maybe Worlds of Fun, but with that park's theme, it doesn't seem like it would work. Dorney and Michigan's Adventure, maybe, yeah. I'm buying they eventually use the Six Flags name to sell to the general public. The Pirate Princess 23, and On the Track Studios YouTube. A few of the parks will be sold off or transferred to other management. I'm definitely buying this. With a portfolio as big as this, there's no reason to keep on dead weight. Six Flags has agreements to operate Frontier City, Darien Lake, and LaRonde. I can see them getting out of these agreements as soon as possible. Maybe they part ways with Discovery Kingdom, or Six Flags America. Or, if there's a park that's sitting on a valuable piece of land, they see an opportunity to sell it off and take the profits. They did this with Astroworld, and they almost did it with Magic Mountain. For Cedar Fair, it's harder to see this happening. I heard Michigan's Adventure is actually profitable for the chain. Maybe Dorney Park or Worlds of Fun go up for sale. I don't think there's any doubt that smaller parks are in more danger as a result of the merger. I just hope if they get sold, they find another operator and don't get paved over. Mike Kaltman 2153. The new chain will acquire at least one major indie park within 5 years. I don't think this is going to happen anytime soon, so I'm selling it. Both chains have a lot of debt. They're going to have an inflated portfolio, so bet on them shedding some parks, not adding some. A perfect opportunity may come along and they won't be able to pass it up, but that's a big if. There aren't many attractive options, and this is assuming they're going to hit the market. Kenepo 4U496. Because of the merger, clone coasters in the Six Flags chain will be removed. I'm selling this. There's no way they start taking out clones. That being said, I think it's a better question to ask if they're going to keep adding clones. We're always trying to find the next great Six Flags clone. We had the Bat Clones, we had the Boomerangs, we had the Pandemoniums, we had the Free Spins. And then we're thinking, maybe those Skyline Skywarps. That was a bust. Maybe the Vekoma Super Boomerang. That could still happen. Same with the Skyline Pescetti Bowl coasters. But after the merger, will they go the way of Cedar Fair and avoid adding clones? I think they split the difference. You won't see the same flood we used to, like when half the parks got a free spin in a 4-year span. But we won't see clones shut out either. Lateral Mitts. For the next few years, as the chain tries to pay off their debt, we see very few major additions. I'm buying this. It's true, both chains are in debt, and as of right now, we aren't seeing a ton of new coasters being added anyway. I don't think we'll see everyone get shut out either. I bet as soon as 2025, we see major additions to the biggest parks, and hopefully it picks up a few years down the line. Coaster Puppy. For the smaller parks in the chain, they're going to bring back the Six Flags Ride Rotation program. This idea implies they're going to start adding portable rides that are easy to move, ones that fit on flat plots of land, very square layouts. I just don't see that happening. Maybe they can move stuff they already have, like Gerstlauer spinners, S&S free spins, but that's pretty far-fetched, so I'm selling it. Building rides, tearing down rides, transporting rides, and rebuilding rides can't be cheap, and it seems like they're better off getting these parks something reasonable they can hang on to. The ride rotation program should stay a relic of the past. Garrett Smith, 8591. The new chain will either take on the Peanuts or Looney Tunes, but they won't have both. As far as I know, they will still own the licensing for both brands. They're both old-fashioned, albeit timeless and instantly recognizable, and it would cost a lot of money to rebrand an entire kids area, retheme every single ride. It just doesn't seem plausible, so I'm selling it. Now, if they were to add a new park, and they wanted to turn the kids area into Looney Tunes or Snoopy, which one do they choose? To me, it seems like whoever holds the most power at the top. If it comes down to what Zimmerman wants, they probably go with Snoopy. That is, unless maybe he has a deep down secret love for Bugs Bunny. Jonathan M. 5436. The merger will do more to help Six Flags than hurt Cedar Fair. I think everyone knows, including all the players involved in this deal, Cedar Fair is the better run chain. They're a bit higher class, they're a bit more expensive, but that means they offer better quality. With Cedar Fair CEO being in charge, it's hard to believe the parks will adopt the Six Flags way of life. I'm buying this. I think it'll be a priority to bring Six Flags parks up to Cedar Fair's level, not cut costs and let the Cedar Fair parks sink to the Six Flags level. That may sound harsh, but over the past few years, Cedar Fair has been in a much stronger financial position, and it seems like even before the merger, Salim Basul was starting to adopt Cedar Fair tactics. For example, putting a premium on access to all the parks in the chain. Stone K-Rod. The merger has shelved a lot of future plans for the parks. It's possible that some parks had plans for 2025 that may need to wait. I'm selling any negative changes beyond that. I don't think the high-end Cedar Fair parks will see much of a difference. I think the high-end Six Flags parks could benefit a lot. The mid-tier and largely ignored parks in both chains will continue to be ignored, or they're going to be sold. So, what could have been in the future plans that will be canceled at this point? I don't think anything. My hope is that if Magic Mountain or Great Adventure or Great America has something average in the plans, that gets upgraded to something better because of this deal. I want to loop this into a couple more ideas. Ultimate Gamer 3459 asked about the volcano replacement at King's Dominion. I can't imagine this altered that at all. Maybe, at worst, they pushed it back a year, but if they already had a plan set in motion behind the scenes, I doubt they're going to scrap it. Montu PC5GP asked about Laurent getting better attractions because of this, and I would be absolutely stunned if the small parks start getting better additions. There's only one hope for parks like Laurent, and that's if Cedar Fair's management sees potential in the Six Flags property for one reason or another. For example, they see how much Oklahoma is growing, and they decide to put an RMC hybrid at Frontier City to really bolster that lineup. Hey, I can dream, right? That's a wrap on this video. Let me know what you think of these topics, and if you have any predictions for the merger, or if you think there isn't even going to be a merger when all's said and done, sound off in the comments below. Before you go, don't forget to drop a like, and if you're new here and want to see more content like this, please give me a sub. I have a playlist with other buy or sell episodes. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.